as I make my way. The fact I'm still alive, my claim to fame. It's no surprise I'm on a rise, finna stake my claim. Separate me from the others, cause we ain't the same. Ask my brothers from another, we ain't for play. Time is money, so we got no time to waste. Soon as this thing's moving, it can't be stopped. Blue bands in my pocket, call that juggernaut.
In the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your work sure would help a lot. Put your life together.
You know the stat quo. Finna get a bag, bustin' down that blow. Out of East Side Ho, where they know my name.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
Oh yeah, what up? What up? It's me, it's Fantasy Football Hustler. We're bringing you FNT here with the man, the myth, the legend, Bogard Scott. Free.
Yes, you're too kind.
Yeah,
You're too kind. Say hi to the world, Meatball.
messing up her schedule, doing the show early.
Right.
Like it's not nap time yet. Antonio in the building. What up, bro?
What up, Antonio?
Of course, he started off with Bang Bang Niner Gang.
Let's go. It's repping the gang. It's the gang.
JC Money in the building. What up, bro?
What up, Jesus Christ Money? Yes. Okay, she's not a meatball. I'm like, what is? I'm like, I gotta address this before he calls my name nonstop till I do.
She's not a meatball. She's a real girl.
She's a meatloaf.
David P in the building. What up, bro? All right. We're starting off with the Big Ben news. Did you guys hear? Big Ben officially retired. We already knew that he was going to. I mean, besides being a shell of himself, you know, out there on the football field, he already mentioned that this was probably going to be his last game that he started at Heinz Field, last game of the season. And Facebook user said, hey, guys, what up? Make sure in the description of the video you could click a little link in there and it'll show your name so I can shout you out by name instead of Facebook user. Or hop over to YouTube. Just type in Fantasy Football Hustler.
Hold on, I'm about to strap this baby in.
All right, let's get it.
Yes,
So, go ahead.
What you got? What you got?
I mean, it's just crazy how that 2004 class, you know, I mean, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Big Ben. Big Ben was drafted the lowest out of all of them. I believe he was like a 12th or 13th overall pick. I always thought that the Chargers should have traded that pick away for Eli and just tried to get Big Ben if you were going to get someone, because you could have got a grip for that first overall pick, you know, and then you could have got, you know, the third best QB. I mean, you're getting drafted in the top 15 picks. Like, you know that you're going to be an instant starter within a year or two. Big Ben started right away. Like, I mean, he was pretty trash when he started, but they won that Super Bowl.
I mean, you couldn't pass on Philippe, could you?
Well, I mean, we were talking about it. We were talking about it a couple days ago. I hated that move because, I mean, Breeze was the man, and I know he got hurt, but that's like high insight, you know, like after the fact, you know, stuff, because they go for Phillip Rivers in 2004, and Breeze still had 2004 and 2005 on his rookie contract. And it was like the goal for him and LT to win multiple Super Bowls, and they didn't get a chance.
Well, going back to the Big Ben Rapist-Burger thing, you know what I mean? You know, I'm never been the biggest Ben Rapist-Burger fan, right? I mean, he was awesome for fantasy, shit like that, you know what I mean? I mean, he really didn't fall off until he got that Tommy John injury, right?
Yeah.
You know, 2019, and he just had
He threw for 5,000 yards in 2018. Like,
exactly. I was just about to say
ridiculous.
that. And like, so at the end of the day, you know, hearing this news, it didn't really mean anything to me. But then I see this article on Bleacher Report where Mike Singletary, when he was the head coach of the Niners, apparently vetoed an already made trade for Big Ben. So we were finna have Big Ben. That's a trip. You know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy because I wonder, high insight, what the Steelers think, you know, about that. Because I mean, 2 Super Bowls in the can. I mean, you're playing with house money at that point.
They won that year.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like you said, if 49ers somehow win the Super Bowl, Jimmy G's got like the highest, trade value that he's ever going to have. I think it was kind of the same for Big Ben, because back then, I mean, he was doing good, but they were still more the Steelers, like ground and pound, win by defense, type thing.
Yeah.
Because their defense was ridiculous in 2009, even though Ben did win it with that throw to Santonio Holmes.
Yeah. My bad. It's just, we're doing this show early, kind of throwing my whole schedule off.
I know. My bad. She's already pissed. She knows it's not nap time yet.
I already preheated it for you.
Oh, man. Classic shirt. Got repping the Goondocks.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? No, but okay. So I'm kind of sour because, if things pan out how they still did at that point, right? When we go get Harbaugh, now we have Big Ben already there. We have that defense. Frank the Tank, that offensive line. Like
was Patrick Willis still there?
Yeah. No, he got drafted what? 08, 09? 08.
I can't remember. I thought it was even earlier than that.
He was drafted by the Singletary regime, though, if I remember correctly.
Let me see. 2007. Okay, yeah. So he was still there. What did he only play? Didn't he only play like 6 or 7 years?
Yeah, he retired 2014.
Yeah, so I guess 8 seasons total. Yeah. That would have been nasty. That would have been nasty. Big Ben with that defense and everything.
Yeah, because we had Alex Smith, who was essentially like game manager, because that's just how they used him. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's how you use a guy like Alex Smith.
Well, I mean, when you're Alex Smith and you go through several coordinators and you get with Greg Roman and they're like, okay, you're gonna be vanilla as fuck. And then when they get their hands on Kaepernick, obviously you can open up Greg Roman's playbook to what he really want to do, right? So I mean,
didn't they have 4 different coordinators in like 4 years or something like that?
Yeah, and then so by that point, by the time he gets to Andy Reid, he has incredible QB IQ. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
going through all these different coordinators and systems, and then Andy Reid squeezes the juices out of them. They're just in the playoffs religiously. I think they only missed the playoffs but one time when Alex Smith was there. You know what I mean? And I think that was the year he got hurt. I remember the first year Alex Smith had like 500 yards rushing, if I remember correctly. They were like, we're gonna bring back the Utah version, the Utah Alex Smith. You know what I mean? Just running around this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that the Niners didn't have the wherewithal to do that with him. They're like, oh, we got Kaepernick now, and that obviously worked out. You know what I mean? Then you even see what Greg Roman did with Lamar Jackson. So there's that. You know what I mean? That was the prototype he liked, to run his system. You know what I mean? But imagine this now. We trade away maybe Alex Smith's part of that deal. Let's just play this game, right? We trade for Roethlisberger that year. We go on and win Super Bowls, bro. I don't give a fuck. Because Big Ben was still shredding it back then.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if we were able to get there with Alex Smith. You know what I mean? So theoretically, we probably win a few. Then you have Alex Smith going to the Steelers. And the reason I bring this up is because a couple years later, we've eventually traded Alex Smith to the Chiefs. Like, the ramifications of this are insane. Because it changes, like, history, obviously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it just, things would have, maybe they still had Matt Castle, maybe. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe they draft a different younger QB. You know what I mean? And that, they have that guy and never get Mahomes, or
Alex Smith, if he got traded away from San Fran and it didn't work out the way that he did, where he went from like San Fran to KC, who knows if he's even in the NFL? For as long as he was, for sure. But if he didn't play with Andy Reid, I feel like he was pretty close to like out the window.
That's the first thing Andy Reid did.
Yeah.
Was trade, once he got to the Chiefs, they made the trade for, and this was after we lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and why not? He already knows that you guys don't like Alex Smith. Colin Kaepernick like took his job in the playoffs. Like, we rarely see something like that happen. So you already knew that's good trade bait right there.
You ever notice Alex Smith got elf ears?
No.
Watch next time.
He's always got his helmet on, man. I can never see
bro,
his
he
ears.
got elf ears, bro. You know what I mean? The elf magic, I don't know if he has it, but you know what I mean? He definitely has the ears. But yeah, but I mean, that was it was a cool little article. You know what I mean? After reading it out, I was a little sour, you know what I mean? Because we've been on this goddamn quest for 6 for like 26, 27 years now, 20 going on 28. You know what I mean? Like,
and see, it's crazy because like I'm going back and I'm looking at Big Ben's stats. I mean, his first 2 years in the NFL, I mean, really garbage. I mean, he was just on in a fucking amazing team, especially when they won. But first 2 years in the league, 17 TDs to 11 interceptions, 9 interceptions, 2,600 yards his first year, 2,300 the next year, 13-0 in his first year as a starter because their team was just
run game.
I mean, you had the bus, man. You had Bettis over there.
And then look at this. Like Big Ben, he was everything that butt fumble couldn't be. You know what I'm saying? Those first 2
Right.
years. Like
right.
He got there and they won it, but it was in spite of Big Ben though. You know what I mean?
Him and Tom Brady, I feel like they have like 2 of the worst performances by a QB in a winning team. Maybe Trent Dilford, rivals them.
Let's not forget about Trent Dilford now.
Oh, hey, I just said it right there. Trent Dilford may rival them. But
the other dude, Johnson, the other guy who won for Tampa Bay, he didn't do shit.
What the hell was his name? Ben Johnson?
It doesn't even matter. Something Johnson.
I know. Yeah, I'm sure he did nothing as well. Like, I mean, you got there because of that defense. I mean, shit. Even fuck. Was it Dilfer who won it with the Ravens in 2000?
Yep.
Okay.
Beat the Giants.
Okay. Oh, I guess I don't know why I was thinking of Chicago when they lost. I mean, they didn't win, but
who they have? Grossman?
I think it was Rex, and he was definitely not sexy Rex.
They got there because of the defense and Devin Hester.
That's what's so crazy. Like, man, that defense. Like, I've always been
Smith, man.
I was always about IDP even back then, and so
Smith is the guy.
If you had their defense and special teams, I was probably cheating that year.
Yeah.
Fuck teams.
Yeah, man. But let's get to some of these hires, man.
All right, go ahead. You kick it off. You know more about it than me.
So, just real cool. This one, we don't really have to elaborate too much. But the Jacksonville hire, it hasn't been official, but I think they're just trying to work out like like a control, like little, says on who has the say on certain things. But he's in there, and that's Byron Leftwich. So it's kind of a cool story. You know what I mean? I mean,
because he played there, he was a player there, right?
There, and this is like now you're, coming full circle, full 360 back to where it all began. But I think this is just a hire that this is like an Adam Gase hire when he was with what's his name, with Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? Like this, this is Byron Leftwich getting a shot because he's been with Bruce Arians for hella long, and then they win a Super Bowl with Brady. You know what I mean?
I wonder what his role actually is. I mean, I know, quote unquote, he's the quarterback's coach, but I wonder if he's like kind of like an assistant to Bruce Arians with a bunch of stuff. I mean, like, is he on Bruce Arians' hip?
He also had the OC duties, right? He wasn't just the QB coach. He was the offensive coordinator. You know what I mean? And like, so and then one thing that I remember early on that Brady was saying was that, like, he's obviously in those offensive meetings, you know what I mean, helping with the game plan through the course of the week, you know what I mean? Because the way they played, they meshed well. Brady's, get the ball out quick with, a mixture of Bruce Arians aggressive, striking down the field, stretch the field type shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, what did Byron Leftwich really do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and offensive coordinator. I don't know where I got the QB coach from. I mean, that was his last gig with the Cardinals before Kyler got there. I mean, one thing that I've been noticing, you see a lot of these coordinators who, I mean, they're good at what they do, but when it comes to managing the entire staff, because that's really what this comes down to. Not only are you managing like every single player, still might be, have a lot of input on the offensive coordinator duties. Then you got to manage all the coaches and all that too. It's a lot to handle.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably going to steal a bunch of staff from from Tampa Bay. I mean, it's only natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Unless people want to like have a shot at winning a Super Bowl again.
I mean,
Bless you.
thank you. Bless us all, by the way. And universe give us money. But I think it all hinges on Brady. Would you say that maybe there's something here that Leftwich might know? I mean, well, obviously, there's only.
For Leftwich, I think it's a shot at just being a head coach.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. They don't really those things out.
But I really wonder how long the leash is going to be, because it is nice to be a head coach. It's not nice to be a head coach on a team that's shitty. And if you don't last a year because, the Jaguars are just shit, like, I don't know, their last coach didn't last a year, just a fucked up track record.
Not even the entirety of a year.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that he would get, unless he goes out and starts kicking Josh Lambo, which I don't think he's going to be doing that. But I don't know. The Jaguars suck. And if he goes out and only wins like 2 or 3 games because this team sucks, are they going to get rid of him right away? Because that's almost like, a step in the wrong direction.
I mean,
these black coaches don't have a long leash. Let's just let's say how it is.
They got so many things they need to fix in Jacksonville. And I mean, this is a quintessential Khan hire.
Right.
Khan, he's all about like,
this is a Jacksonville guy.
Yeah. This is all exactly. You know what I mean? This is all some type of a draw somehow. He looks at it like pro wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is the guy who won went to back-to-back Super Bowl.
Brady. Bring him over here. Yeah, he used to be our quarterback. It's a hell of a story. You know what I mean?
Tampa Bay didn't even start clicking until he took over offensive coordinator duties. Because I think in 2019, wasn't that Jameis 5,000 also? Yeah. So like 2 out of his 3 years, he's had a 5,000 yard passer.
Yeah, it's true.
I'd be riding whatever kind of statistics like that I could.
Same.
It's not my fault that Jameis threw 30 interceptions. That wasn't the play call.
I'll tell you this much. It makes it interesting for fantasy purposes. Like ETN probably going to be legit next year because we're going to get him at a dummy value. And this is a system that we saw. They're going to run the ball a lot. You know what I mean?
They better. It better be Robinson and ETN, the 1A, 1B that we expect.
Robinson's done, in my opinion. You know
what? What was his injury?
He torn the ACL, and that was week 16. Like, if he comes back, it's like wintertime next year. You know what I mean?
You know what? Cam Akers came back from an Achilles. Adrian Peterson's done it before. Who the hell knows? This modern medicine is only getting better and better.
I know, right? Shit. that still trips me out with the Cam Akers joint, bro. Because now we're not going to get him at any kind of value next year because people are seeing it.
No, it's way more expensive. Like at this point, if people mold it over for the offseason, we're all pissed off about it. That kind of stuff. But yeah, we're seeing it right now.
Yeah,
there's no questions anymore unless he gets hurt. Knock on wood. But he didn't look too good in this last game, but that really wasn't his fault. But he looked hella explosive in the wild card round.
Yeah. Who did they play? They played the Cards. Yeah, he was tearing them up. He was tearing them up.
Yeah. And then you go against the Bucks. One of the best run defenses, if not the best run defense in the league. So
yeah, it's a good point.
49ers, one of the best run defenses in the league as well. So he's got back-to-back tough matches.
Say that again.
Oh yeah, we already know.
Okay, now the Chicago one. This one's interesting because you're a defensive guy. I know you'll appreciate this. I like the Ibraflu hire here. Matt Ibraflu gets hired to the Chicago Bears. He's their head coach. I talked to Smokey this morning. I got to tap in with my. That's actually how I found out because Smokey hit me, asked me what I think about it,
nice.
And because he don't like it, but I do. This guy has had a great defense with the Colts, and now he's going to Chicago. You go from Darius Leonard to Roquan Smith. You know what I mean? By the way, we have Khalil Mack here too. You know what I mean? You got a young secondary. You got a more than decent linebacker core. You know what I mean? They're going to
their defense has a lot of potential. They could easily be a top 10 team.
Definitely switching from a 3-4 to a 4-3 because the 3-4 is the Fangio shit. That actually the Vic Fangio shit that actually stuck around. Even life after Vic Fangio. You know what I mean? They kept running that 3-4. So I like change. I think change is good. Like, you know what I mean? And obviously a lot of these hires. I mean, Jacksonville, we're not getting involved because Jacksonville, they do whatever the fuck they want. They're crazy, right? But most sane organizations, right? They go opposite of what they had prior. So they go from an offensive-minded guy, dumbass Matt Nagy, to what's his name over here now? Matt Ibraflu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like the only way that Chicago is really going to stand the test of time here with this regime that they got right now is if the defense puts them on their back again. So
look at this. You know what resonates with people when they're looking to hire motherfuckers, right? Is like is winning, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, okay. And maybe not winning records, but who you beat too. You know what I mean? They beat the Bills this year, the Colts. You know what I mean? Like, and the defense, the defense did their thing. You know what I mean? A couple years ago on a Sunday nighter with the Jacoby grilled beef brisket led Colts, they beat Patrick Mahomes and them in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And they kept it a low scoring game. You know what I mean? They just had a wonderful defensive plan to stop Mahomes. This shit resonates. They beat Rodgers last year. Rodgers, where they go 14-2 last year, 13-3, whatever it was.
Yep.
And I'm talking about last year as in 2020. You know what I mean? That was
last season. There we go.
Last season, there you go. You know what I mean? And like things like this resonate with them. You know what I mean? Especially if you're the guy, the new GM who just came over from the Chiefs. You're gonna remember that game that they came in and beat them. You know what I mean? I like the Matt Eberflus hire. You know what I mean? He's been around. He's what 50? I think he's like 51.
51.
He's been around.
Yeah.
He's young enough to be young and innovative, but he also got the old school mentality because he's been around those guys. You know what I mean? He's been around the old timers. So like this team's gonna be smash mouth Chicago again. You know what I mean? Just good defense and pound the ball with my man Monty Burns. Let's go.
And it's not like when he first got to Indy. I mean, you got Darius Leonard. You got who else did they have?
They drafted
anymore. Well, yeah. I don't think it was. I don't know if it was that year. I think
Ibraflu was there. If I remember correctly, he was there part of the old regime. They get rid of Pagano and they bring in Frank Reich. And what's crazy is, remember the Josh McDaniels, he took the job, and then they had the coordinators already there, and then Josh McDaniels was like, no, psych. Remember that? And then they go with Frank Reich, and he has the chance to clear the coordinators. You know what I'm saying? And he gets rid of everybody but Matt Eberflus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was like, nah, this kid's good. I mean, he's not a kid, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And Darius Leonard, that was his first year. I don't know why I thought it was 2017.
2018.
But it's because he hit the ground running. I mean, he didn't start game one, but whoever was playing in front of him got hurt. And then like he came in and there was like no losing his job. Like after that, like he had 163 like combined tackles that year, just over 100 solo tackles in his rookie year. Like that was just insane.
I remember I had him in IDP. I want to say that was my first or second year playing IDP, but in Steamboat's league where you got to start like fucking 8 of these motherfuckers or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I just remember I assumed him on a waiver because I saw him in a preseason game just going crazy, and I was like, oh shit, we had already drafted, so I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to swoop this motherfucker. He hit like That was the year. I think this was the first down year he had, right? In his career. Down year, quote unquote.
Yeah. Yeah, where he was like linebacker 11, I think.
Yeah.
So still top 12, but not like not top 3.
Not top 3.
And I'm pretty sure like this year or that year, 2018, I mean, he was top 3. So you just got a lot of you're creating a big shadow for yourself when your rookie year, you're like a top 3 at the position fantasy wise.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've been blessed with like really good like acquisition. So I wonder like how much did he play a part in like getting what's his name, DeForest Buckner, and then I mean the guy they drafted this year couldn't pay.
That's how dope Chris Ballard is. Chris Ballard is dope. He's done this with the Chiefs. He's done this with the Browns. He's done this with the Colts. He knows how to make good football moves. So, but yeah, I wouldn't doubt. He's like, hey, bro, go get Buckner. You know what I mean? Like,
because you look at this defense that the Colts had in 2018. I mean, going into the season, Darius Leonard's a rookie, so you don't know that he's going to be one of the best, players at the position or whatever.
It's funny because he was another thing that stuck out to me because when you watch the preseason games, it's just some nobody's calling the games. You know what I mean? Well, not nobody's, they're somebody's, but they're not.
Yeah, they're the B or C listers,
right? And this guy he's like, yeah, the maniac. He's like, that's what he calls himself. He's like, he's one of the only guys to give himself a nickname in college. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
He backed it up.
I mean, you can't give yourself your own nickname, first of all, but this is the exception to the rule.
Then sometimes, maybe you're just not given a nickname. Who knows? I mean, I know that does happen, but yeah, maybe you're just that. I don't know. He's definitely got the swag. He always has. And Nigel, what up, bro? Said with the signing of the Green Bay OC, Rodgers to Denver closer.
Okay, let's just get right to that then. So Nathaniel Hackett, phenomenal football mind according to Aaron Rodgers, right? But I mean, this is another thing too, is like how much of your success is tied to Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, who's another offensive guru, where because that system was implicated into Nathaniel Hackett's game plan every week. You know what I mean? And you had Aaron Rodgers to execute it. You know what I'm saying? But here he is. He finds himself in Denver, and it's out of conference. So this actually, I mean, I was hating on the move. I was like, why the fuck would Rodgers want to go there? There's no infrastructure, this, that, and the third. Maybe this does sway it because he has been on record to big up Nathaniel like a lot, like on the McAfee show. You know what I mean? He's just always bigging him up. You know what I mean?
And who knows? I mean, we gotta hear some of this news about. I mean, the guys that they got to re-sign. I mean, there's a lot of things in place, but I mean, we know they're keeping LaFleur. Do they have any other coaches who? Well, I guess it's only if coaches are leaving that they need to fill their spot. But who they going to bring in at coordinator? Are they going to promote within? Or are they going to go get someone else? Like,
this thing is fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, yeah, listen, it's all if Rodgers wants to come back, right? Because if he comes back, he's not coming back to Green Bay now, I don't think. You know what I mean? It's gonna be, and if you're Green Bay and you only have Aaron Rodgers for a year at best, if he does come back, wouldn't you move him for the future's sake? Get everything you can get off him because that's your last chance to trade him, and that's why they restructured it the way they did for this one more year. So if and when they do trade him, that team ultimately has to immediately extend him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, they should. That's the logical thing. I guess
you're not going to trade him just to have Rodgers for the one more year. You know what I mean? You're gonna
right.
Even if he decides to retire after the next year, you're gonna extend it for at least one more or 2 more years. You know what I mean? Just so you have it on paper locked in, because that's just how it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
no, and I just meant with the Packers. Like, I mean, yeah, it makes sense to trade them, but I don't know. I mean, I just feel like sometimes just some of these regimes, whatever it is, I mean, they'll cut off their nose to spite their face, and they don't really do the logical things all the time. I hope that Rodgers gets moved, because if they are rebuilding, to a certain extent, they are going to be a little bit rebuilding. I mean, yeah, fuck Rodgers playing on like a mediocre team.
See, and that's my only issue, is because if, say, this happens, and they go, Rodgers, we're going to trade for you, and then Devontae Adams is going to follow him in free agency because he's on record for saying, I want to play with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Even though that statement is so vague, you hear what he's saying without him saying. He's like, listen, bro, I'm about to only fuck with Rodgers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Wherever Rodgers goes, he's finna go. And then Adams will get the big ass bag. You know what I'm saying? Because I know they don't have too many big contracts over there at all. in Denver. They're not one of these
Yeah,
teams that
everyone's young. Like everyone's on their rookie
Yeah.
contracts, like all their wide receivers and stuff.
Yeah, and they didn't really bring in. They don't have no splash free agency hires. None of that shit. You know what I mean? And they just extended like all their little cheapy receivers. You know what I'm saying? Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick. You have Jared Judy still on his rookie deal, and then like you obviously have Devontae Adams to lead the charge, and he would be the first. He would be the guy getting the big bag. Rodgers would probably get his.
Man, could you imagine that? I mean, I'm just saying, if Adams went over there and then you got Cortland Sutton and Jerry Judy, like that'd be insane.
Yeah, you know what I would do? I'm loving Javonte. You know what I mean?
Oh
like, yes, give me the Javonte. And then also, just when Nathaniel Hackett's there, you know Javonte is gonna get worked in a lot. You know what I mean?
I mean, similar. You know, Artie's gonna know the system and already knows the player.
You know what I'm saying? No, but I'm talking about Javonte.
Oh yeah. Oh, Williams. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
if you have all them receivers to take the top off, brother,
they just better not re-sign Gordon. Like, you better not.
They're not doing that. That's old regime shit. You know what I mean? What? And he has like a lightweight, hefty contract. It's not like he's
right.
You know, he's cheap. You know what I mean? I think it's like $6 million.
He's been in the league for a minute now.
Yeah. Fuck you, Gordon. Get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, quit messing up our Javonte.
Our Javantes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Javonte. It's French.
It's Ludet. It's French. Yeah.
That's a new one for him.
What up, Patrick? What's going on, bro? He said, hypothetical question. If the Rams win the Super Bowl, does Stafford pass Rodgers on the GOAT QB list?
Fuck no.
I wouldn't say so either.
Rodgers is about to get another MVP, and that'll be his third of his career. You know what I mean?
He got the MVP last year, right?
Yeah, he's about to go back to back on them hoes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless Brady he makes the phone call, you know what I'm saying? And he's sitting there eating his avocado ice cream. And he's like, fuck that, I'm making the call. I'm MVP now.
Hey.
You know what I mean? He had the numbers were better, just the efficiency is always there for Rodgers. Like everything is damn near perfect. You know, when you look at Rodgers' numbers, but Brady's is all just super big numbers. You know,
yes, that's what's crazy. You look at Rodgers' numbers: 4,100 yards, but 37 TDs to 4 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see how many. Let me see if I could see his rushing yards. Yeah, no, didn't do shit on rushing. 101 rushing yards, 3 TDs.
Yep. I mean,
really just that first place finish, right? I mean, that was the big thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's going to get him. That's what's going to be the best team in the league. That's what propels him to be the MVP this year. Like Tom Brady, if it was based on all numbers, then Tom Brady beats him because Tom Brady's numbers look inflated compared to his. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think it was that outing versus the Jets that might have ruined it for Brady. Like, I know that they won, and I know they won in Tom Brady fashion.
Brady fashion, he comes back to win the game.
Never should have been losing like that to the Jets. Like, I mean, I know the defense, they gave up the points to the Jets.
I was loving it. I had so much Brady. Brady was in 4 out of my 5. 4 out of my 5 championships this year were super flex.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was in every single, well, not every single, he was in 3 out of the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had a nice Stafford Allen against you in that joint in the Tyrannosaurus Flex.
Yeah, I know, you son of a bitch.
I'm not trying to stunt. It's just factual. Where's my belt? Where's my nice
motherfucker?
Yeah. This is for my other one. This has nothing to do with you.
So I mean, Stafford going over there. I mean, switching teams and winning a Super Bowl in your first year, or switching teams, like that's no easy feat. Like that definitely like propels him, way higher on the list, than he was, because he was doing, I mean, great with the well, great, as good as anyone could do with the Lions. And
let me ask you something. How many before this playoff run for Matthew Stafford? How many playoff wins did he have?
0. He's 0-3.
That's where you can't even get him in the conversation with Rodgers.
Yeah.
Stafford is what, 33? Stafford do this for 5 years straight. You know what I mean?
Look at how much better Barry Sanders had to be than everybody in the league, to to not have to never really sniff the playoffs or anything and be considered one of the GOATs. Like, he was just that much better than literally everybody else that we've ever seen. It's like him and Jim Brown. They're like, number one A and 1B. Like, and I don't know if anyone else would say anyone other than those guys, unless you're a Cowboy fan.
Right.
So yeah, Stafford's not there yet, but if he somehow wins this year, I bet Sean McVay gets more of the credit than he does anyways.
I mean, yeah, because this is like a plan that got put in motion in Mexico or Cabo or wherever the fuck they were at. You know what I mean? It all started in Mexico. And what's crazy is that, the 49ers were in that conversation with trying to get Stafford. And you know what I mean? And it was basically like Sean McVay, like, hey, bruh, told you I was finna get him. You know what I mean? They all.
How much did 49ers give up to get Trey? What was in that trade? Do you remember offhand?
Like, I think it was it was this year's first and the next 2 years, I think, if I remember correctly, 3 first.
But they probably weren't going to give up that same amount for Stafford.
I mean, probably 2, but also then it becomes of where you want to go. You know what I mean? When a motherfucker's like, come meet me and my Russian supermodel hot wife in Mexico. Let's have some drinks. And he sells them on the Hollywood Rams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they probably had a big orgy at the same time, and that was probably something else that sold them.
I can see Sean McVay trying to like coach the orgy. Okay, Matt, turn around, get my wife from the back right now. Okay, that's great. Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's really good. Good strokes.
And then he'll just be running up and down the bed like when they're running back like the kickoffs, and he gets all hyped and he like runs all the way down.
They call that shit the Eiffel Tower, right? They're Eiffel Towering. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, all right, Matt. Now that we shared each other's wives, man, I think we can go. We can get this deal done.
We lied yesterday. I guess we said that FNT is never X-rated, but somehow it got a little X-rated today.
FAN stands for fantasy and fucking.
Oh man, that shit is hilarious. And Nigel said, "Hustler chain game on point." You already know, man. We got to keep it like 2 chains around here,
right?
And Nigel said, surprised NFL players, QB and wide receiver tight ends don't team up as much when they move. Before this, really only Brady and Gronk, the players don't make their contract free agents together.
But also, too, we're seeing a change in the league where, like, it's not the old curmudgeon GMs you have and president of scouts, not these old fucks no more. They're getting young and they're putting minorities in place where, like, a quarterback that's young could actually be like, hey, bro, go draft my guy Jamar Chase. You know what I mean? Or even the Eagles like, okay, let's go get Devontae Smith. That's his man's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like shit like that, where it's like, we've seen that. And then look at the same thing with Tua and Waddle. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But in this case with free agency, you really got to be royalty to do this. Tom Brady it was easy to be like, okay, Gronk, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna come out of retirement, and then I already talked to whoever he had to talk to, like Bill or whatever. He's like, I called Bill. We're gonna trade.
Multiple phone calls had to be made.
Yeah, because this ain't no easy. This is not just, you can't flip the switch just like that. And then obviously the Buccaneers have to give something up to trade for the rights to have Gronk, then they sign him for whatever deal it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but Rodgers, so with Nathaniel Hatchett there, he could essentially make the phone call to the floor, like, and really get this, or Gunther Kuntz, or whatever the guy's name is, Guntz or whatever the GM for the Packers is, and just be like, listen, we got this, that, and the third to offer. You know what I mean? And we want Aaron Rodgers. And then, the only way they could hold on to Devontae Adams is if they, give him a big ass deal, and he's probably not going to sign that. Or if they was to franchise tag him, and then they can trade him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which would also be bullshit, but that's what you do with a guy like Devontae Adams. I mean, you keep him on that 1 year, salary. I mean, it sucks. I mean, he's going to get paid, and it's really just about staying healthy. But he's the type of guy that, I mean, barring health, that's really what it is. Like, how much do you want to bet on yourself? Because if he just does the 1 or 2 year contracts, like, man, he'll be getting bags.
Well, look at this. This year, a bunch of receivers did that because they knew the salary cap was going up this year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people took 1 and 2 year contracts because them 2 year contracts half the time be bullshit. It's like 1 year and then you could dip. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Real
and
front.
so yeah, a lot of people did that, but a lot of people hurt their campaigns, like Juju. You know what I mean? Calvin Ridley. You know what I'm saying? No, Calvin Ridley didn't take no deal this year, but Will Offler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guys like these guys that floated around took these 1 2 year 1 or 2 year contracts.
Which I didn't understand it for Will Fuller because you never stay healthy.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's probably the best his agent can do. Listen, man, no one like your name, your Will. Like, this is exactly what he told him. He said, "You're Will Offler, bro. You come from a long line of Offlers."
He's like, I just talked to the GM and he said he knew your dad, and that's why he didn't offer us a deal.
He was like, "Fuck Will Offler the fourth. Don't fuck his pappy. His pappy's pappy."
Oh man. And Nigel said if they don't franchise tag him, he's free to choose a team. Yeah, he's an unrestricted free agent, right? Yep. So he is free to choose a team if they don't franchise tag him. But I definitely see them. I definitely see them
UFA?
franchise tagging him though.
Yep, UFA, exactly. I mean, that would be the super dickhead move, but he still doesn't have to sign the franchise tag either. Unless like they hit him with can they hit him with like an exclusive? They can't do anything, huh? Because he's unrestricted.
Well, if he doesn't sign the franchise tag, I think that's like holding out, right?
Well, yeah. So if they tag him, he has till June. But see, if they tag him, that means they really gonna trade him.
Right.
Rodgers. They'd be
Right.
like, all right, we're gonna get the ultimate package back. We're at 5 first rounds. You know what I mean?
Right. Because how long do they have? Like, when would they have to franchise tag him by? Is that like before the Super Bowl or sometime around there?
I don't
What's
know
the
if it's before. I don't. This is where I get confused because I know June. I mean, not where I get confused. This is where I can't remember specifically because I know June starts the new football year. You know what I mean? So like, and I know like if you have a franchise tag on you, I think June's the deadline to sign that shit.
Right. But that's not but the team has a deadline that they have to like franchise tag their player by.
Yeah. I think that might be like before March or whatever the fuck it is.
Okay.
I'm probably wrong about this because like.
Well, I mean, we're just guessing. We'll
Yeah, I know, but I usually would look this up before I. You know what I mean? That's one of the aspects I didn't look up before we did this shit.
Well, yeah. As we move down the road, we'll hear about all these dates and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Nigel said, "What is realistic if Rodgers doesn't come back to Green Bay?" Well, if he doesn't come back to Green Bay, that means he's retiring. At least for 1 year.
Because I think if he decides to play.
Well, hold on. Let me read the rest of the question. Let's see. Maybe that wasn't even it. He said they trade him to a team he wants to resign at a promise that they won't tag him. Devontae Adams. He said the only way Rodgers and Adams play together next year. No, it's not. No, it's not the only way.
I was gonna say. I'm saying to what they would do is tag him and then like you know what I mean. Then the trade package is ill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be unprecedented. We've never seen that.
Never in the history of the NFL has there been Rodgers and Adams traded away to the same team.
This is what Rodgers wanted to do. It'll happen.
Right.
If he views, first of all, if he wants to come back and play, I don't think it's going to be for Green Bay 1. So if he comes back to play and he's going to look to these places, like it's going to be Denver or it's going to be Pittsburgh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Mike Tomlin's the guy that would outright call Rodgers.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Bogey in the Matrix. All right. Here we go. Let me, let's see. And Nigel said, so like tag him and trade them both to Denver. Yeah, that's a Bogey saying. If they franchise tag him, it might be just to do that where they're tagging him and then they're trading him away and then the other team kind of re-signs him to a 1 year or 2 year deal, something like that. Because if they don't franchise tag him by a certain time, he's going to become an unrestricted free agent, and then he can literally pick and choose to go wherever he wants, free and clear, out the door. All right. Who's ready to smoke some? Where's the 420 crew at?
So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Roll a fatty.
For this pimp daddy.
Smoke weed every day.
Oh, yeah. Let's get
Man,
it.
ain't nothing wrong with smoking weed. Weed is from the herb. God put this here for me and you. Take advantage, man.
Don't give me that shit about it's a drug. It ain't no motherfucking drug. I done the research. It's just a plant. It just grows like that. And if you should happen to set it on fire, there are some effects.
Yeah. Nigel throwing in the 420 crew. Yeah. All right. And thanks for everyone who's tapping in with us, because we started like an hour and a half earlier than normal and it was unannounced. Something super important that's coming up here. And it would have cut into FNT, so I didn't want to I didn't want the show to run short. So glad Bogard was able to switch it up, last moment. And thank you guys for being here. And David P said, unless you're a Cowboys fan. Yeah, and dang it. And David, I totally forgot to read your comment out earlier when you talked about Dan Quinn staying there. And that just meant he didn't get offered any head coaching jobs. So I mean, it's good that he's staying back for you guys, because his scheme definitely worked. And Nigel said, do you think Rodgers goes to another team without Davante Adams? It could happen, but the weird thing, Rodgers holds a lot of the keys in this whole debacle, because he's still under contract with the Green Bay Packers for 1 more year. And so he could choose to retire. What if he does what Brett Favre did? Like literally the 2 guys, on the last 2 Packers QBs take a year off, and then the contract expires or whatever. And then you're back in, something like that. I don't know if he would get traded without Davante Adams. That's probably the more likely scenario. I just don't know how it's all going to work. We've never seen anything like this before. That's what's so crazy, but it's also pretty awesome, because we're in uncharted territory right now. That's what's so cool about it. Like, we're seeing shit that has never happened in the NFL before. And it's because the players, they definitely hold their futures in their hand a little bit more than they did previously. Still not as much as the NBA, because there's just less there's less superstar players in the NBA. I feel like, as opposed to like the percentage is bigger. Like a superstar player in the NBA means way more than a superstar player in the NFL, because NBA, you only got 5 starters. So that one person, that's 20% of the team, 20% of the starters, for football. I mean, if we're talking offense, defense, and special team starters, I mean, that's a lot of starters right there.
That's a lot of motherfuckers.
Yeah. So Nigel, his question right before you hopped on was, do you think Rodgers goes to another team without Davante Adams?
Drive safe, man. Yeah. Hey, listen. I've realized this year, depending on what team you are, cap doesn't matter. Like, it'll never matter for the Cowboys. They just figure it out. He'll pay a luxury tax if you. Do they still do that?
Nah, that's NBA. But look at what the Saints and the
Chiefs. Only NBA does it. That's right. It doesn't matter. Like Uncle Jerry, they get it done, bruh. They just they pay everyone, and they always reset markets. They just do this all the time. I don't know how the fuck they do that.
Well, and all you got to do is figure out figure out like the upfront money that doesn't count against the cap. Like that's really how they get around all this stuff. They front load the contracts, and then it only counts so much against the cap. The Chiefs and the Saints. I mean, neither, like, I remember at one point they said the Chiefs had like $100 like left on the cap or something.
It was $1 million. It was like 400,000 or something.
I know, might as well have been $100. That's how low the damn number was. And but somehow, they re-signed Mahomes to that crazy deal, and he's restructured again since. And then Travis Kelce and everyone else that they re-signed, and then the Saints. The Saints had they were negative like 80 million.
It was
90 million against the cap. Somehow figured that out, and got out of that.
Well, I mean, Drew Brees was like a fat chunk of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then still like that crazy ass Taysom Hill contract that they did. That saved them a grip of money against the cap this year or last year.
I mean, that was weird. That was really weird. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why when everyone's saying the Dan Quinn's gonna need control, because I was saying that too. Like if not Dan Quinn, what's his name? Sean Payne. Like if Sean Payne ever ended up with the Cowboys, right? And now Steve's gonna pop up for sure, right? If what's his name? Damn, I'm drawing a blank. What was Buddy's name again? Keep confusing him with Dan Quinn. Sean Payton. Sean Payton, right? If he's like, I need GM duties, and I want to make the calls, like stuff like the Taysom Hill call, that wasn't a good call.
No.
Hell of a coach. Maybe he's not so much good at football decisions.
There was something different there. We already know he had some dirt on Sean Payton or something, because like Taysom Hill is like Tim Tebow.
Oh yeah, that's right. He caught him blowing the dude in the bathroom. That's right.
It was something crazy like that. It had to be like he's got dirt on him like nobody else. And Nigel said, I think he stays. If you watch the Pat McAfee show, he said he would come to their studio to announce his decision. That shit would be dope. And Ty, their coworker, is a diehard Packer fan. That would be bogus. Well, when you guys hear about that, because I don't watch the Pat McAfee show too much, but if you guys hear about that, let me know, because I'd love to watch. We can even live stream while that's happening, so we can all react to that, because that would be pretty insane.
I mean, first of all, Aaron Rodgers is a Sagittarius too. I always got to point that out. So he really means it when he says I got to evaluate some shit. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna let. But then he also, one thing I like to say that we do is we hold our word, bro. If we say it, bro, we're finna do that shit. And he said, listen, I'm gonna let the world know before free agency. You know what I mean? And because obviously that's respectful for the organization. He's like, listen, I'm gonna let y'all know my decision before then, what I want to do. Because then I'll let y'all be able to move accordingly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he's going to announce it on the goddamn McAfee show. I love it.
That's pretty dope. That is pretty dope. It's the Pat McAfee show. It's not ESPN. It's not anything. It's a fucking YouTube. It's a fucking YouTube channel.
I mean, he's a punter that retired when he was one of the best punters in the game. You know what I mean? Listen, he actually, the way he breaks down special teams and kicking and stuff like that, it's actually I'm like, wow, that's I was just thinking, oh, they just kicked the ball. You know what I mean? There's a whole ass other side of shit. He was breaking down how he couldn't believe how the wing was out wide, and then that's how the Niners were able. They saw that on film. They're like, okay, and then they exploited it twice, and then the second time it went for a touchdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
blocking the kicks, and when he was breaking it down, it's like, wow, that's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Man, and special teams, it's one of the biggest phases in the games, but slept on, obviously.
It totally is. You know
what I mean? And look at for something as minute. I like to believe everything in life is fractal. Am I saying that right? Fractal. That means it's something that's small, something that you could think is minuscule could be fucking tremendous. You know what I mean? In this case, a lowly punter, who's like, I'm gonna go do a podcast. You know what I mean? And just blow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because and now it's like he's getting quarterback money from FanDuel.
Yeah.
It's kind of tight because I've been on his show for the last 3 years.
Okay.
So it's dope to like see all that happen. You know what I mean? Like, as I feel like I know those guys. You know what I mean?
So I was looking up something on social media, and our homie Anthony, who's always on here, you got to look at your phone so you can see this picture that I'm pulling up here.
Ooh, hold on, baby. So yeah, this buddy that be in the chat, he's a Niner fan.
Yeah, Pete Davidson raising Kim Kardashian's kids after they got divorced, and it's the Me, Myself, and Irene when they're sitting.
That's what it is.
When they're sitting on the couch when they're kids and they're watching. Can we watch Richard Pryor, Daddy?
Dude, I fucking love that movie. That's a great meme.
So classic, man. Yeah, and that I just remember that scene. Like, he wasn't ready to hear Richard Pryor shit, and I remember just going and, I mean, hearing that whole special like later is just hilarious. But he's like, man, I went to Africa, and he's like, woo, see some lions and shit. He's like, I ain't talking about them lions that you be fucking with at the zoo either.
He's like, that motherfucker was like, he's like, hey man, you see them motherfucker over there, man? What do you say? Then you got them cowboy boots on? What's that? He's like, I'm about to eat all that shit.
Yeah, and so Me, Myself, and Irene, that's definitely a movie that we got to go over for Movies and Munchies.
Which one is that one? Is that live on Sunset?
I believe it is.
Okay. Because that's the only one I've watched, and I've watched the what was it? I can't remember his other one where he's wearing like the green suit. He's not wearing a red suit. I'll say that. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure the red suit is the that's the one.
The Sunset. Yeah, he's got so many. Like, they just did so many of these specials, like all those George Carlin specials and shit. There's like so many I can't even remember.
Hey, George Carlin's a lyricist, bro.
Oh yeah,
he be busting. Like, I like that George Carlin, because then at one point he was just like angry about everything, and I love that George Carlin too. But like, I loved it when he was like he was just, his vernacular was insane.
And it's crazy because my first intro to George Carlin was with like the Jay and Silent Bob movies.
Yeah.
Because I was like when the Jay and Silent Bob movies came out, I was barely like 12, 13.
What was he? He was in Dogma too.
Well, yeah. Well, and I consider that a Jay and Silent Bob movie. That was the first one that I seen him in, was Dogma.
Yeah.
When he was the
priest or the bishop or whatever he was.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit was funny.
I gotta revisit that shit. That shit was good.
Man, that's all right. So we're for everyone still watching. So Movies and Munchies is going to be changing around a little bit. It's not going to be a live show anymore. It's going to be a show that we record and then we upload. But it's going to be awesome. I mean, what I have in mind, it is going and it's going to be going back and revisiting some of our favorite movies to start. Not like new movies where we did, like The Tax Collector, but movies that we love. A lot of it's going to start with stoner movies, just a lot of comedies, I think, because it's just more fun talking about a lot of comedies, especially if we can keep it with stoner comedies. And yeah, he plays Rufus in Bill and Ted. Oh, yeah. And I totally forgot about that because I definitely saw Bill and Ted. I mean, both of them before I seen what's it called, Dogma.
Yeah, that's right. He was the motherfucker taking them through the motherfucking booth.
Yeah. Rufus.
Hey, George Carlin's a G.
69, dudes.
Such a classic movie. Oh, yeah.
Real quick, to go back to the Chicago Hire, one thing that Smokey said to me that resonates with me is he was like, man, what the fuck is Justin Fields going to be now? Like, who? He's like concerned with like who they're going to, is like, and I'm like, oh, well, a lot of times these new head coaches, the first timers, they go and they bring guys from the staff they were at. So I'm like, if he's going to bring some offensive guy, it's going to be a Frank Reich guy. You know what I mean? And I kind of like that. You know what I mean? That means they're going to be a run first team. You know what I mean?
We already know, just being an Ohio State quarterback, he's already set up for failure in the NFL. And we're already seeing the pieces in play of him potentially, being a bust
from the start.
What?
Yeah, potentially being doomed from the start.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's not his fault. I mean, landing spot, you're going to go through a coaching change right now, and it's switching to a defensive-minded coach. and now you're not the guy from that regime, at least the coaching regime anyways.
You know what's crazy? What's crazy here is like they did all these interviews, right? Chicago. They probably did the most interviews in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And they go ahead and they even interviewed Flores. They interviewed Dan Quinn yesterday. And then what's crazy is yesterday, Dan Quinn announces, "Oh, I'm pulling my hat out of the Chicago Bears race." You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, so that, and then Smokey pointed out to me, he's like, doesn't that say something to you? Like, this guy is like a former head coach. They're probably, you don't let the guy leave. That means you don't want to hire him. You know what I mean? That's usually how this thing works. I mean, obviously they do second interviews too, and then sometimes then it's when I hire him. But, for someone like Dan Quinn, who was, a hot name at the time, right? It's like, you don't let that guy leave. You know what I'm saying? So Smokey's like, man, something organizationally he didn't like. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe, and then I was even telling Stuart, I was like, well, maybe Uncle Jerry, like he's like, Dan, don't hang up. It's me. It's Jerry. He's like, go outside right now. The private jet's there. Come on home. I'll give you everything you want. And he's like, all right. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think I know the money's going to be, nice, but like, I feel like some of these guys have been coaches. Like, does the money even matter? I think a lot of it's about situations.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I'm saying, like, give them what you want too. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
they obviously had his input in this draft. They drafted all defensive players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They weren't just gonna let Dan Quinn like be like, okay, this is what we got. Do your best.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, we need to get all these motherfuckers. Hold on, baby. I'm gonna make you a milk.
Messing her schedule all the way up, guys.
No, we're actually right on schedule. Just
okay.
She laughs hella funny, dude. Yeah, I see. You see, she gets all excited. She knows what I'm doing.
All right. Well, let's see. And what else we got? I'm see if that was really kind of it. I mean, those big hires. Right.
I mean, okay, how about this too? This is crazy because as much as everyone's talking about Sean Payton retiring, like, who's going to be the Saints coach now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, are they going to get some lame duck to hold a spot? You know what I mean? Like, basically until I mean, like, I would try to go after like a Brian Flores, because if they gave Sean Payton control, maybe they gave Brian Flores control, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. Who do they go out and get? I mean, all this was really sudden. So, I mean, I wonder if they're already, they got to be out there interviewing. I mean, there's no time to waste. I just haven't heard anything about who they've been interviewing, anything like that.
Sean Payton, Sean Payton's actually a hell of a guy for that too. Like, he's a coach himself for years. He knows how this process goes. He's like, listen, I'm going to get out now so y'all have a chance to grab one of these coaches that's floating around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I think we're good. I think we'll wrap it up here. And yeah. Well, tell them everything on the way out. We got anything else happening?
I mean, I just want to say, everybody go check out last night's episode of the Real Fantasy Playmakers. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that was rocking with us live. This shit was one of them ones. You know what I mean? Really got in depth, broke down a bunch of shit, man. Really good episode. I actually went back and watched a little bit of it this morning. And check us out on the circle later. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be on there competing again. You know what I mean? I was highway robbery last week to the cock. You know what I mean? I'm coming back for your cock. Pause. And yeah, check us out for FNT tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's probably gonna close up our last week of doing this daily, right? Or we wait until after Super Bowl. Either way, man. It's just, this is my favorite show to do every day. You know what I mean? And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Shit.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wait until after the Super Bowl. We'll just keep rocking it, even if we're just talking nonsense. Who cares? We'll just keep it rocking though, all the way through the football season. And yeah, make sure you are here live for the Circle. That is going to be at 7:20 Eastern, 4:20 Pacific. So get ready to spark it up. It's a really dope debate show. It was awesome last week. There's little tweaks that we made going into this week, but I know you guys are gonna love it. The stream is already up. Let me share the link here in the chat. Make sure you go right now. Click the link and click the reminder. Okay, click the reminder. So we'll see you guys back here in a little less than 4 hours. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. We're out.
Peace.
As I make my way, the fact I'm still alive, my claim to fame. It's no surprise I'm on a rise, finna stake my claim. Separate me from the others, cause we ain't the same. Ask my brothers from another, we ain't for play. Time is money, so we got no time to waste. Soon as this thing's moving, it can't be stopped. Blue bands in my pocket, call that juggernaut.
In the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your work sure would help a lot. Put your life together.
You know the stat quo. Finna get a bag, bustin' down that blow. Out of East Side Ho, where they know my name.